Hello, it is dark. It's been a minute since my voice has graced this beautiful channel of mine, this beautiful disaster of a channel. Anyway, hi, it's me. How are you doing? There's something I wanted to talk about really quick because I've been on TikTok. I'm on TikTok, by the way. If you didn't know that already, you're welcome. Anyway, yeah, anyway, so I am on this personal healing journey of mine, and lately I've noticed a lot of trends, at least on my perception of the internet. And for a long time, at least it seemed like the idea of like men making jokes about women and everything, like all of those, what people would label as misogynistic and stuff. It's like some of it's like jokes and they don't get it, and like it's a lot of different things. But I'm noticing that over the past like year or two, it's kind of flipped to where women are doing that to men, and like everybody's doing it to men, and I have never really been comfortable with either situation. And it's hard for me to talk about because I don't want to villainize anyone, because I don't think that's productive. I don't think that that's a good way to go about life, is saying just like an us versus them mentality. It doesn't work. It never has, like, especially when it comes to humanity. Like, conflict is one thing, but when you get to the point where it's us or them, and you're the good guy, they're the bad guy, and it's so black and white, and you know, they're the devil, you're an angel. Like, it dehumanizes humanity, and I think it's this is a really deep conversation, but you know, it's like 1 a.m, so it's fair, it's valid. Anyway, I have ADHD. Did you know that? Have fun with that. Anyway, hi. So, luckily, within the past month or so, I think, I'm noticing that there's more clarification between the jokes, and like people are making more of a point to be like, it's more about the behaviors of specific people than it is about those specific people as a group, as a whole, as a generalization. And I appreciate that, because I think it's important to, especially if you have a larger following, to make that distinction, because you cannot control how someone is going to perceive what you say. That's just not, it just doesn't work like that. You can't control people and how they react to things. So, as someone who projects out onto the internet, you have a responsibility to be as clear and concise as possible, especially if it's an important subject in your mind. Like, if you're having a serious conversation, you need clear, concise, and easy to understand language, so that it at the very least, it mitigates confusion, and the people that have the critical thinking skills or can learn the critical thinking skills will make that distinction, and everyone else, it'll just be clear that they're not there to learn, they're there to make conflict, or they're, you know, going through something and lashing out and everything. And it's like, I'm nervous for the future, and like, as society as a whole, as we keep talking and having discussion and like all this discourse with like all these jokes that after a while don't really seem like jokes anymore. And people healing from trauma, and people going through just so many emotions and events and disasters and just experiencing life as it is. It's a lot, and I think it's important that we have this discussion and that we continue to have this discussion, because if we don't allow ourselves to change, we're all gonna die. Like, honestly, like, the main thing that people have an issue with is change, especially people who are benefiting from the state of life as it is, right? And the people that are healing and, in my opinion, doing better for themselves, it needs to happen. And I get why people are hesitant or even against change, because it's painful and it's hard and it takes a lot of work. And a lot of people are scared, myself included. A lot of people don't know what's going to happen, and that's valid. I mean, whatever you're feeling is valid. Like, I'm tired of the rhetoric that just because you feel a certain way it's wrong, or that you think a certain thing is wrong. Like, it's one thing to, like, have malicious intent in your thoughts. It's another thing to just have a thought. It's sad, because you can tell that there are so many people in this world that just want to be treated with respect and kindness, and we're all tired, and we're all trying to improve or live the life that we think we need to live, and trying to survive. Like, they can't even live. They have to, like, focus on, getting food on the table and clothes on their backs and their children's backs and their families' backs and their friends' backs, and they can't afford to think about anything but, where am I gonna get what I need for tomorrow? And it makes me so sad, because for a lot of reasons, actually, there's so much potential in humanity. We can accomplish so much. And with technology, we are more connected than we have ever been. And now that we're in a place that we are familiar with technology, at least on a basic level, and, like, the idea of technology and how it works, we can finally use it to its full potential, in the sense of becoming a larger community. And I think it's important, because the thing about being human is that we can't do this alone. We're not made to do this alone. We can't create another one of us doing it alone. If we were meant to do that, we would have been born that way. We would have been a frog or a lizard or an insect of some kind. I don't know. It doesn't matter. The point is, when we are born, we can't do anything. We are completely defenseless. And it is up to the people that made us to take care of us and be with us and raise us until we can go out into the world and be a productive member of society, or however you want to put it. And it's important to remember that, and to center yourself in the fact that we are not supposed to be alone. There is a lot of science that supports isolation is, especially in long stretches of time, is physically, emotionally, and mentally damaging. It fucking destroys your mental health. It changes your view on the world in a very bad way sometimes, and especially if you're not made to be more comfortable by yourself. Like, if you're, I don't know, extroverted or introverted or something, but like, I don't know. It was time for me to say hi again, and this has been on my mind for a while, and hopefully I've been able to express what I've been thinking about concisely enough to make sense. I hope all of you are alive. I don't want to say doing well because I don't want to like assume, but I also just want to put that positive energy into the world and like encourage that for you and for your loved ones, because at the end of the day we're all human, and that's the reason my channel is the way that it is. We're all part of something bigger than ourselves, and we need to remember that. And we need to remember that just because we are only a part does not mean we're not important. And I have a friend of mine that has a somewhat different view of this, of like importance. I think they just have a different perspective on it, but the way that I see it is that every life has value, and every life has so much potential, and they are important, and they might not be important in a way that I see as important or as they see as important, but they are important. They affect people's lives, because if you think about it, we interact with so many people, especially in like towns and cities and stuff. Like it would be mind-boggling if you were to look at your life and see how many people you have interacted with and changed just because you existed. It is staggering. And it seems like it's not enough because they seem so small. The interactions are usually just a few seconds, but I promise you that every moment of your life has the potential to save a life, including your own. I fully believe that treating yourself like you are important is also important. If you treat yourself like garbage, you're gonna feel like garbage, and you're gonna behave like garbage, and it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. I've been through that myself. I figured out what I needed to be, who I wanted to be, tried to figure it out, and I got lost for a little while. I lost myself. I lost the will to live. I lost the value I had in myself. I lost the ability to care about myself or even want myself to be here. And I was just tired. Like, this world can be exhausting, and it is exhausting. But at the end of the day, that always reminded me that as terrible as I felt, and as numb as I felt at times, because it was just too much, if I could feel the depths of despair this deeply, there was something on the other side with like that amount of potency and power. Because if you think about it, how do you know you feel despair if you've never felt joy? You know what I mean? Like, there has to be something to contrast it with. There has to be something that you can recognize for reference, and like, you know, so you can understand things. Alright, well, I think I've rambled long enough. Hopefully I'll be talking or doing something, I don't know, in the future. But hopefully the philosopher can give you something to sleep with, I guess. I don't know. Peace to you, humans.